Hello and welcome to another episode of 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. Albums generated one album a day by 1001albumgenerator.com. And today's album is Moon Safari by the French duo called Air. Now, if you haven't heard of Air, there's a lot to really talk about. Now, even if this is their debut album, released in 1998. Now, I'll do my best, given that I am not French. I don't speak any French except for bonsoir, a few words here and there. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so I apologise in advance. But here we go. So the two people in the group are Nicolas Godard and Jean-Bois Duncan. That's the two people in the group. Now, I have to go through a few things before we talk even just about the album. And the reason I have to do that is that if you listen to this album and you don't know what I'm about to tell you, you could probably miss a lot of what's going on. It's very, very easy to miss. There's so much happening. And it's amazing what two people, individual people, just by themselves are able to do. So Nicolas, the first, I think he's the founding member. I should know this, but I'm pretty sure he was the founding member of the group. So, Nicolas. This is some of the instrumentation that he plays. Okay, bass, so bass guitar, tambourine, mini moog, which is a kind of synthesizer is the word I'm looking for. He does backing vocals, hand claps. It's not as easy as it sounds. Vocals on track 2, and pan flute. Now, apart from the vocals, everything I've listed there is just on track 1 that he does. Then he's also got the Korg MS-20, which I think is also a kind of synthesizer, a Moog, another kind of synthesizer, electric guitar, a talk box, which is normally associated with guitar, but it's listed as if it's a separate instrument, guitar, so I'm assuming acoustic guitar, drums on track 3, a thing called a Selena string ensemble, which is, from my understanding, it's a kind of synthesizer that sounds like stringed instruments or an orchestra. There's also a vocoder, which, if you've heard of vocoder, you'll always know it. It's similar to a talkbox sounding, but it goes through a keyboard. Although they came out before these guys, Daft Punk, they're very well known for using the vocoder. You would definitely know it when you hear it. A Casio tone, which I thought was a toy keyboard kind of thing. Glockenspiel, a Wurlitzer, which is another kind of piano, percussion, harmonica, and a normal piano. And that's just Nicolas Godard. That's the first bloke. Then we've got Jean-Benoit Dunkel. Hopefully I'm saying that right. So what he plays is the Rhodes, which is a Fender. It's almost like an electric piano, but not. It's got, instead of strings, it has bits of metal that the little hammers hit inside it. It's an interesting instrument. It's got its own kind of sound. Organ, Selena string ensemble, which I mentioned before, the pan flute, backing vocals, a Korg MS-20 kind of synthesizer, hand claps and piano. All that is just on track 1. Then he also does vocals on track 2, the Wurlitzer. Again, I think I mentioned before, I think it's a kind of piano. Vocoder, mentioned before. Glockenspiel, clavinet. Can't remember what that is, but I'll put a picture of it up. The mini moog, which is again a kind of synthesizer. Casio tone, which I heard. I think, who was it? Stuart Copeland from The Police. I'm sure he mentioned the Casio tone is something that they used to come up with spirits in the material world. Some tone out of that thing. Pretty sure that's what it was. And a mellotron. So that's all the instrumentation played just between these two two blokes. So I really had to talk about that first before we get into the album. Just to give you an idea, first of all, the kind of talent there, as well as what kind of instruments to listen out for. All right, so I'm sitting here. I've been listening to this album, a few times, gone for a walk, driven to town and back. I've listened to it about 3 or 4 times now, and I hear something different in each song each time. And I also should admit as well, 2 of the songs I knew Sexy Boy and All That I Need well before this, listening to this album today. Especially All I Need, track 3 here, I will say is one of my favourite songs actually. So anyway, that's just the intro, just to give you an idea who this band is. And as I said, their debut album. Now, the first track is La Femme de Jean. I'm pronouncing that wrong, no doubt about it, but it translates as Silver Woman. If you are going to listen to any of this, you really do need to have some decent headphones or a decent sound system, especially this song. There is this really, really good bass line that starts, which is played by Nicolas Gourdin himself, one of the members of the band. So let's have a bit of a listen. So hopefully at this point you've got the idea of what I'm talking about. There's this really, really awesome bass line that comes in and comes out. It's a really cool percussion. I tried to match the timing of it with my hand to show you what was going on. There's a whole lot of, there's soloing the keyboard or a Moog, whichever thing it was that he was using. There's synthesizers coming over the top of it. There's so much happening, but it's not overpowering. Honestly, I think instrumental stuff, especially from a pop perspective, a pop album like this, trying to do instrumental is often done poorly. Even by some of my favourite musos, they do an instrumental. I'm like, oh God, just give up. I honestly think there's not that many people who really know how to do it. I'm not one of them either. Just by the way, I wouldn't have the first thing. I'm much better with just, verse, chorus with singing. God, I'd hate to have to do an instrumental track. So it does kind of continue along the same lines. Still worth listening to, though, by the way. It changes a little bit here. It's an actual piano by the sound of that. also, I try my best not to jump in, but I just need to point out there, like that bass line has been jumping all over the place, making this awesome groove. But now he's just sitting on one note, just going do 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 do. Now, I just need to point out as well, this is something, I listen to a lot of interviews, watch a lot of interviews, and all of the top musos, no matter what they play, guitar, drums, with it, whatever they do, keyboards, everything, they all say the same thing. They talk about staying true to the song, staying true to a melody, and playing to fit the song, but they all talk about staying out of the way. And I think that's what the bass, what he was doing there. It's his own song, of course. He can be the star of his own show. But I think he was trying to make room for all of the other stuff was going on. That's why he was just just sitting on that one bass line there, on that one note on the bass. Also, so I'm trying to not ruin it, but there's some kind of a keyboard or a synthesizer, but notice it's got this echo in it. That thing, it sounds a little bit like a theremin playing that solo there. It kind of reminds me a little bit of War of the Worlds, and it does sound a little bit like a theremin. That's really cool. Yeah, so that is the opening track. I think that really is one of those kind of really how albums used to be done. The opening track was designed to draw you in. I think that does a really great job of that. It gives you a really good idea of what this group is about. Yeah, I think it does the job. The next track is Sexy Boy, which features both Nicola and Jean Renoir on vocals. I'm not sure who does what, but I'm sure most of you would have heard this song. Now, again, I don't want to talk over the whole bloody song, but there's this bit in there that it's about to come up now. It goes, I do that because it sounds like a guitar, but I've got a feeling that it's actually one of those keyboards or synths where they've got this little lever where they can bend the note, and that bit actually reminds me of the guitar part in Dakota by the Stereophonics. That's pretty much the gist of that song. I think that's a pretty good song. I know it does sound a little bit repetitive because the sexy boy part, but there's worse things. Next song, as I said earlier, this is one of my favourite songs. This is one of those few songs, no matter how old it is, whenever it comes on, I'll always listen to it from start to finish. I won't do it to you right now. I won't make you listen to the whole thing. I'll try to pick out the elements of the song to give you an idea of what each song sounds like without overplaying it or exposing you to every single verse and chorus of a song. But this does feature, as you can see on the screen here, it says Beth Hirsch. So this is one of the songs that actually has singing on it, of course. Anyway, let's get into it. Not to run the song, but just note there's keyboards in there, there's acoustic guitar playing along there. It's easy for that stuff to get lost with that. If you're listening with decent sound system, that bass line is just so kick-ass.
All I need is a little time to get behind the sun and cast my weight. All I need is peace of this mind. I can celebrate. All in all, there's something to give. All in all, there's something to give. All in all, there's something to do. All in all, there's something to do. All in all, there's something to live with you. With you. Get behind the sun and cast his way. All I need's a place to find. All in all, there's something to give. All in all, there's something to give. All in all, with you. With you.
Such a great song. Don't know about you, what you were hearing here, if you've never heard this before. She's got such a lovely voice, this lovely sweet voice, very innocent sounding, really good control of it. Suits the song perfectly. Hopefully what I've just shown you there gives you a really good idea of what is that song is about. And hopefully you see why I like it so much. Now, the next song is Kelly, Watch the Stars. Will warn you, it is a little bit repetitive. It does have vocals in it, but try to think of the vocals as another instrument. And also note that the vocal line, the Kelly, Watch the Stars, is said differently. The first and the second time is said and phrased a little bit differently to try to make it sound a bit interesting. Once again, if you didn't have a decent sound system, you would have heard zero of that bass. I wish I had one. It sounded really, really low how far it went down. It sounded like a 6-string bass, like as in one with an actual G string on it, like really, really low. Yeah, I don't, you should definitely would have heard that piano bit, and don't know about you, you can tell that's someone who absolutely knows what they're doing on a piano. And then we've got the return of what I thought was a theremin, but it's not credited anywhere that I can see. So it must be one of the synthesizers, one of the many synthesizer keyboardy things they're using. Well, again, I did say it can, if you just listen to lyrics and just go, you don't think of the lyrics as another instrument, it could seem boring. But this is not dissimilar to a lot of stuff that Daft Punk have done in the past, so keep that in mind. Now, the next song is Talisman, which is 100% a instrumental, no vocals from what I remember at all. It's, again, slow sort of paced. It sort of takes a while to get going, but that's fine. You could easily imagine this song as being in a score of a movie, and they have done scores for movies, these guys, not surprisingly. Like, I don't know about you, that I find that quite enjoyable to listen to. Look, maybe it does require a certain kind of mood for you to be in, but it is relaxing to listen to, I think. And so the next song is Remember. I know I've heard that drum sound before. I think it's a Beach Boys drum sound. It sounds like they've got echo or some kind of delay on the drums. That's the vocoder, in case you didn't know. And there is some stringed section, or like recorded as being as credited as being recorded at Abbey Road Studios. So maybe that's what we're listening to there. Yep, that's again a little bit different, relaxing. I know there's a little bit of repetition in there, but the song is You Make It Easy. Now, if you're listening on a decent sound system or headphones, you should be noticing the difference between when it's just a solo vocal and then it gets double tracked like it is right now. How can this be true? To be held and done. Actually, I think that was double tracked and with a harmony. Keep it coming, no one's running. Lesson I'm learning. Blessings are deserved by the trust that always could. Downtown, way up in the air, your heart's pounding, and all that I'm aware. You make it easy to watch the world we love. That's the double track vocals that I'm trying to signal there. Let the past be done. Look, that's a ripper song. There's no two ways about it. Next song, oh my god, I can't pronounce any of that. Samadin La, no idea. the same as I was referring to in one of the other songs. This is just the bass, but just the single note, not changing notes or anything. Yeah, well, it even says from, and then insert name there. I'm assuming that's a movie this is from, and it sounds totally like it's from a movie. So there you go. And moving on to second last track. That's the second last song. For the final one, Le Voyage de Penelope. I think that's what that says. And there we are. There we have it. Okay, I filmed what you just saw yesterday. I've had a whole day to think about this. some new things have happened, and from now on, I will not be giving a rating to any of the albums. I do my best to see good in everything I listen to, and I also convey that in my videos. However, thankfully, somebody criticised me for a review I gave, and when I say a review, they criticised the rating I gave. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has different opinions. I have an idea what I think something should be, and everyone else, which is what the Album a Day generator is all about. Everyone gives a review. That's part of that website. I'm not part of that website. And I'm so glad this happened so early on for me, because my channel is, you couldn't get a smaller channel than mine than what it is right now. I've got a handful of followers. I don't get that very many views. Or I don't care. That's fine. And I'm so glad this happened this early, because it occurred to me today, as I said, I recorded what you just saw yesterday, and I've had a whole day to think about this. And I've listened to this fantastic album, and it very, very much is a fantastic album. And giving it a star rating, it occurred to me that makes me kind of a critic. And I don't like music critics as a rule. I like music enthusiasts, but I often disagree with music critics because they don't do what I do, or I'm not Rick Beato, but we do similar things. He sees all the good in music. You don't hear him criticising musicians or music. And I try to do the same thing. I try to look for the good in music and share that with everybody. And just that star rating I give at the end takes that all away. So I do not want to be, I've never wanted to be a music critic. And let me remind you that music critics said that, I'm paraphrasing here, but they said that Led Zeppelin 4, one of the best albums of all times in rock, and regarded so highly still today, and the album with Stairway to Heaven on it. If you don't know the one, the music critics absolutely canned that album, and many others. There are so many examples. You could be here all day coming out with examples of music critics who back in the day said an album was terrible, and now it still stands up and everyone still listens to them. So they're obviously fucking wrong, aren't they? Right? You can't argue with the outcome, the results. Anyway, so thank you. It's someone who subscribes to me that gave me that feedback. I'm calling it criticism. Sorry if you're still watching. I'm sorry if this sounds like I'm being critical of you. I'm not. I'm thanking you. Thanks for pointing this out. Thanks for bringing my attention to it. I'm not giving the star ratings. That is a weight off my shoulders. All I'm going to do from now on is talk about how great, in what way ever I can, about each of these albums that come across. So anyway, thanks for watching as usual.